What's up, y'all? Welcome to Just Geeking Out. Don't mind the bathrobe. It's actually pretty late right now, but I wanted to get this out because I want to talk about Daredevil Born Again. But before that, hit that notification bell. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the first two episodes. Now, before I get into it, I just want to tell you I am a big Daredevil fan, specifically the Netflix series. I do have a few comics, Frank Miller, of course, but I really enjoyed the Netflix original series of Daredevil. Honestly, I think that's the best superhero comic book television series of all time. I said it. It's right up my alley. So when I heard this was coming out, I was excited and I was a bit concerned or worried because you just never know. The makers of Daredevil were really great at creating atmosphere and tone and just the gritty nature of their storytelling. And this is a different creative team outside of the actors. So you just never really know how they're going to interpret the material. And at one point, a certain group of a creative team didn't interpret the material well because they were shooting a completely different show than the one that came out right now. One that was probably more akin to, I guess, Matt Murdock's She-Hulk appearance, I assume. I don't know. We never saw it. They kind of went back and decided this needs to be like a season 4 of the Netflix series. So I said all that to say, I really enjoy this character in Daredevil on Netflix. So, spoilers alert. Now we're going to get into it. So, like I said, I was a big fan of that. So going into this, at first opening image we get of Foggy and Matt and Karen, like in the bar, they're together. It's pretty amazing, man. When they first announced they're doing Daredevil, like none of these people were back. It was just Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox. And it wasn't going to be a direct, I guess, sequel to the last Netflix series. So to see where we are now with this trio, this group of friends, so much chemistry, is pretty awesome. And it really sets it up that this is season 4. Now, the look in the beginning did kind of rub me the wrong way a little bit. It just felt like they were on a set, on like a studio lot. And they probably were in the Netflix series, but it didn't feel like it. It felt like they were in that gritty bar. Like you felt the texture. It felt like a real place. Here, it felt just a little too clean, a little too perfect. Like I guess with the rest of the Marvel Disney shows, there's a very clean aesthetic to it. Where Daredevil on Netflix, it was really gritty, really raw. Felt like they were really in a bar. So that, and when they cut outside and you see the mist and the smoke, that felt very much like CGI. So already it was kind of jarring because it felt different than what I was expecting. And then, Foggy's on the phone, Matt overhears and learns that he's in trouble, and he suits up as Daredevil because there's a guy out there, freaking Bullseye. And I'm not going to go over the shows in too much detail because I assume you saw it. Just going to talk about what I liked and disliked. So then we get to the Daredevil kind of swinging around, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and it didn't feel, it was just not good CGI. It looked like not good CGI. It felt like early 2000s CGI in a movie. And that was kind of, like I said, jarring because in the original Netflix series, it just felt like he was really on a real rooftop. And the stuntman was really jumping from rooftop to rooftop. And here, Like even the scaling of him on the roof with the New York skyline, like it didn't come together for me. And then we get to Bullseye and the fight in the stairwell, and it was a oneer, like with those one, the camera doesn't cut, or if it does cut, it's very hidden, so it's like one continuous shot. And it kind of felt like they did it because that's what you do in a Daredevil series. It didn't feel motivated. Now, I know the executive producer or the director, I heard him speak. I don't know which one he was, but he said it was very motivated. He wanted us, the audience, to feel as though we're following this fight in a way where we know it's going to lead to the death of someone. Like it's inevitable. I did not get that feeling watching it. And watching Daredevil take so many freaking knives to the body, clack, clack, clack. I think there was like one on the side or back. And the way he kept moving and fighting, it just took me out, because the big thing about the original Daredevil series, and yes, they took liberties. No human being should be able to survive what he did, but they really made you feel the pain, the cost of putting your body on the line. And I felt like that Daredevil in that series wasn't about to take 4 freaking knives to the body and still fight with the same amount of aggression. That kind of felt very, I don't know, unsophisticated. Then we get to the rooftop and he fights Bullseye, and Foggy is shot and dies, which is kind of crazy. And Matt screams and throws Bullseye off the roof. Now, I really love this series. And I think the beginning was jarring because it was different. Now that I had time to think about it, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I was just expecting something else. Yeah. But as we get into the series, it's checking all the boxes for me. It really is. It really is. We jump forward a year later, and apparently Matt must have had some money saved up because he has a firm with his new partner. And it looks beautiful. His apartment looks much no. His apartment in freaking Netflix was sick. I wish he was in that same apartment. But he looks like he's thriving. He looks more put together. He's not in that kind of like ugly old kind of suit with the tie undone anymore. He is suited up. He looks good. And Bullseye is on the trial for the murder of Foggy, and Matt's testifying, and the emotion of it just hits, man. Dude lost his best friend, and you just see him holding on, and then Karen comes in, and he can hear her before she even gets in the room, and it's very clear their relationship is messed up. And just the weight and the toll this takes on Matt is astounding, and it's very consistent with the Netflix series. And you see him and Karen have that conversation, and apparently their relationship is absolutely no more friendship or more, no more. And Matt has stopped being Daredevil for a year, which is kind of a trope, right? Like we have those Spider-Man no more and superheroes deciding not to be superheroes because of a reason, and it's kind of a trope. But since this show and the Netflix series made it a point to follow Matt Murdock on his journey, the show isn't about Daredevil. It's about this man named Matthew Murdock who does these things. He fights crime during the day as a lawyer and fights it at night as Daredevil. It's about him. So the fact that he isn't Daredevil, it doesn't make the series or him less interesting. And so that's going on. And then Fisk is back. Now I had to remember what happened to him, because I was a little confused. It's a little confusing because it's hard to tell. Is this a direct sequel from the Netflix series that includes Hawkeye and Echo and Spider-Man No Way Home? Or is it the other? I don't know. I don't know, and I didn't know. So I was trying to remember what happened to Fisk, because it's clear Nessa's been running the whole thing, the whole criminal enterprise, and he's been away healing. So I was trying to remember what happened in Daredevil. They need to heal. And I can remember. Oh, excuse me. It's late. But apparently he's been healing for months, and Nessa took over the criminal enterprise, like I said, and she also taken on the lumber. So Fisk doesn't have the very thing that brings him the most joy. And he decides to run for mayor, which confuses the hell out of me. I don't really understand how a criminal like this can run for mayor, even in a universe of fiction, because in the first season, like, he's literally in cuffs. Like, he goes to jail a number of times. And he is definitely beaten up in the last season of Daredevil, and definitely not this man in the public eye in Echo or Hawkeye. So it's very confused how he's running for mayor and wins. But it's very clear that his relationship with Nessa is very much on the rocks. So he's running for mayor, and one of the dopest scenes, this felt like Heat, the movie Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. That's what that diner scene was. It was two men who have turned over a new leaf, or have they? And they're having a very civil conversation about, don't make me become the thing you don't want me to become. And that's what pretty much Matt says to Kingpin. And Kingpin is like, I use my power to make sure every vigilante is locked up. So they kind of have this understanding, but they don't. They know at the end of the day, it's probably going to end with one of them dead. But they're having this very civil conversation that is loaded with violent subtext. So that was beautiful. And then Matt's, he's going on dates. He's hooked up in a weird kind of way. So it was good to see him live his life. And not just miserable, like, he has a good firm and he has a love life. But he's not Daredevil. In episode 2, we get introduced to the White Tiger. Wonderful actor Kumar played that role, and he passed away. Rest in peace. Blessings to your family. And he's just amazing. I mean, you don't see him for much in the second episode, but he is amazing. He is so grounded and vulnerable, and he stops the guy getting beat up. But apparently the guy's getting beat up by 2 cops and 1 dies, and he is in big trouble. Matthew is now in the police precinct, doing his job for another client, and here's what's going on with White Tiger, and decides to step in and offer his duties as his lawyer, which is very interesting. And then, you got Fisk trying to clean up the town, and something with the police department. It lost me a little bit, but basically he wants the guy to stay commissioner so he can have control over the police, because he can't lose the police. That part is a little confusing to me. But what's amazing is Vanessa and Fisk in couples counseling, which was dope, because it's like you have this guy who's this ruthless killer, this kingpin, and he's sitting across from a therapist with his wife because he's trying to work on his marriage. That's where this series sings. It takes these bigger than life archetypes, but then they ground them in such the real world, in such a real way that it's moving. And if there's one character that should not be moving us emotionally, it's the villain. But he does, and he is. It's so good. And Matthew finds out that the White Tiger, he's White Tiger, and it's very interesting because now he's representing a vigilante who kind of live by, Matthew's code, which is, people are out there and they need help, and somebody's got to do something, which is exactly what Matthew used to do. So those dynamics are just really, really good. And then they find out the guy who the police are beating up. Matthew goes there to try to warn him, and there is a wonderful fight. Well, first of all, they beat the crap out of Matthew, and he lets them. Matt definitely lets them, but these dirty cops weren't going to start with a beating. They put a gun to his head, and he just unleashes. This fight scene is so violent and so brutal, and I loved every second of it. I loved watching Charlie Cox's portrayal of Daredevil as like, he's just filled up with all this like righteous rage. And when he's hitting, and Kingpin called it in the diner, that he enjoyed being the violent Daredevil. Like, he's not just stopping bad guys because he's trying to save the day. He gets something out of hurting them. And in this fight scene, he hurt them. And he did this one thing where the guy's head hit the ground like it did in Batman v Superman, where it's like, I don't know if he's alive. And then Matt screams, and I'm like, this is the freaking show that I've been waiting for. It is so good. Chef's kiss to see him just yell because he hates what he did, but he's enjoying what he did. And I don't know if those guys are dead. I hope they're not. I don't want Daredevil to get loose with killing, because that's not his thing. But I enjoyed it. I mean, it's exactly what I would want it to be. It really is. Chef's kiss to the filmmakers, chef kiss to the cast and crew, because it is a good freaking show. I don't know why people are upset about it or talking trash. This is pretty perfect as far as a successor from what we had. So I don't know what people's problems are that are hating on it. Maybe it's just rage bait. I don't know, but I loved it. It is a wonderful season 4 to a series I really enjoyed, and yeah. I am extremely tired. I've been up for a very long time, but I wanted to tell you how my thoughts on this series, and I thought it's amazing. I can't wait. I cannot wait for the next episode, because it hits, man. If you enjoyed Netflix's Daredevil, you should enjoy this. Just get past the opening of the first episode, and it actually will start to really become a true season 4. And they're doing things to innovate, you know, like the way they're depicting Matt's powers and the way he hears and feels has been pretty good. I mean, not pretty good, really good. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I don't understand how Fisk is able to run for mayor or become mayor because of who he was, but I guess that was all a secret, huh? Because season 3 he was completely freed, and so I don't know, lost my train of thought. Anyway, that's what happens when you're on no sleep. But thank you so much for watching. I apologize if I'm a little scattered. Let me know your thoughts on this series. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I guess at the end of Daredevil season 3, Fisk goes, he goes to jail, doesn't he? And then if we're gonna play with Echo, like, he doesn't get exonerated. So I don't know how he can run for president. I don't know. But basically, what he had to recover from, I guess, was Echo shooting him in the head. In the first episode in the diner, they make reference to, like, this kid he's sort of trying to raise and guide shoots him in the face. So, yeah, I don't know. And they also mentioned Spider-Man indirectly. He said Kingpin is telling, Matthew, like, we can live in a city without men with skulls on their chest and spider guys in spider costumes and the Daredevil. So that's pretty cool. So I don't know if that means Far From Home or No Way Home is in this universe. I highly doubt She-Hulk's in this universe, but they're not going to want to say. But yeah, I think lost my train of thought again. Anyway, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Let me know in the comment section if you how you enjoyed this, what you would rate it. I think it's too early to give a rating. See the whole season first, but are you coming back for episode 3? Because I definitely am. Good job, cast and crew. Daredevil, make sure you like, comment, hit that notification bell, and I'm out. I'll see you same bat time, same